So we did 2 layers of spray cork, which is maybe 2 or 3 millimeters, probably more like 4. And now it's time to start the next phase of our installation journey. I'm having like a real heck of a time getting the panels cut properly.
I really don't know if this is even gonna work or not.
Don't try this at home, folks. I don't think this is like a manufactured recommendation. Nothing is a right angle. A lot of trialing and a lot of erroring, but we got it sorted out.
Dirty high five.
We need a really good installation on the boat, so we need to make sure the boat is as efficient as possible so we're not wasting a bunch of energy.
Such a messy process. It's taking a little longer than I anticipated. It already sounds so different in here. Like there's no echo, it's just... Well guys, we successfully finished the second coat of spray cork
Yep.
the last couple of days.
A lot of trialing and a lot of erroring, but we got it sorted out.
We got it done.
The first coat stuck really well, and so yeah, we just finished spraying the second coat on a couple of days ago. It's had a good time to dry, and now it's time to start the next phase of our installation journey.
Which is... Oh, you had you had a symbol to show. I feel like this is a better representation of what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to be installing this thing, which is our expanded foam.
Expanded.
Foam.
I hope it doesn't expand.
Expanded foam. Do you want to remind people what this is?
Yeah, so this is expanded cork, not foam.
Oh, right. Expanded foam. Damn it. Expanded cork.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is called expanded cork. It is regular bark off of cork trees, which there's tons of them here in Sardinia, which is pretty cool. Every time we go driving out to a campsite, they shave like the bottom 2 meters off of the cork tree, and then they put it on a truck. And so this is called expanded because they squish it all together, and then they heat it up in an oven, and it actually expands a little bit, and the resin, a natural resin in the cork bark is what glues it together. So this is a 100% natural material. It's also an incredibly good insulator for heat as well as sound and vibration and everything else. So it's gonna make the inside of our boat, it already, I don't know if you guys can hear on the microphone, the camera, but it's already like way more like a sound studio in here.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like
less echoey.
the sound is like here. It's not like bouncing off the walls, which is very kind of cool.
I like it. It's the same, I mean, it's cork, right? It's the same stuff that you see in the caps of wine bottles.
Yeah.
And champagne.
Well, and actually most of the
that.
stuff we sprayed on, I don't know what the exact percentage is, 80, 90% of it is recycled cork from exactly that, like wine corks and leftover from other manufacturing products.
This
that
one
they
is
just grind
particularly from Portugal.
out. Is it?
Yeah,
Does it say?
that's what it said.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's not from Sardinia, but there are a lot of cork trees here. Very popular here in the Med. So we did 2 layers of spray cork, which is maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. Probably more like 4 in some places. But that's not the end of the world. As long as it's dry, it's not the end of the world. And then this is like a 1 centimeter thick sheet of cork, and we're going to be gluing on 2 of them. So we're going to overlap the seams and overlap any holes or perforations so that hopefully they don't go through. It's also easier to work with a 1 centimeter. You can just slice it with a knife. It's very easy to work with. And then we're going to be gluing it down
With a giant caulk gun.
biggest caulking gun you've ever seen in your life. Because the glue that came with it is in the sausages. It's not like in the tubes, which is a lot less waste because we're going to be using a lot of it. And so when you're done, you're just left with like this little tiny piece of plastic instead of like an entire tube of caulking. So we're going to be gluing that down today over everywhere on the hull.
Everywhere that has a spray cork.
Everywhere that's been
Almost.
spray cork. Yeah, except
Yeah.
maybe the V-berth front. There's a couple of places that we won't need to. And where we did the closed cell foam on the hull, in those 4 places, we'll just put 1 layer of this on top of it, so that'll still be 2 centimeters when it's done. And then we'll be spraying a few layers of cork insulation over top of this to seal it all up, and then we'll be done insulating. So it's definitely a laborious process, but I think it's gonna be really worth it.
I think so too.
Because we need a really good insulation on the boat, because we're gonna be doing electric heating and cooling. And so we need to make sure the boat is as efficient as possible so we're not wasting a bunch of energy because we don't just have like a big diesel generator running to run all of our HVAC and air conditioning. So it needs to be as insulated as possible without, losing too much space.
All right.
So,
well,
that's the plan.
We're going to start the V-berth and then work our way backwards.
Think I can hit the stop button with a caulking gun?
Probably. Yeah, for sure.
I really don't know if this is even gonna work or not.
So I've been having like a real heck of a time getting the panels cut properly because every single spot where we're gluing in cork, nothing is a right angle, because the hull is angled to the piece, so everything is some wacky angle. In the V-berth, it was a little bit easier because we could just like lay a sheet on and sort of just cut it and eyeball it and glue it in. But now that we're starting to do all these little cubbies and nooks, we're trying to figure out a way to like make it work. And I've got one of these little like adjustable angle measuring things, but I only have one, and it wasn't enough because you could measure like one angle and then measure with a tape measure, but I was like screwing them up. So I made 4 more of them and put some measures and some marks on them so that I can like position each one in each corner, and if it's small enough they'll overlap, but if not, at least I can like measure the distance between them so I can line up sort of an accurate template, and then put some metal and some magnet strips on the bottom so that when we're like lining them up they sort of kind of stay together. It's just kind of what we had. If these magnets were stronger, it'd be way better. And I made it small enough so that it can go inside of pretty much every cubby and slide back and forth. So that should speed things up a little bit and mess things up less. So I'm gonna kind of be going around and kind of templating and cutting, and Kika's gonna be going around like gluing in all the pieces behind me, and hopefully we can get this done today. Put like one in this corner. Look at that. Perfect. Let me see your hands.
It's such a messy process. piece of cork. Whew. All right. We're done. It's like,
Dirty high five.
dirty high five. This is crazy. It looks like a garden in here. It just almost smells like a garden too. From here, we're just gonna clean everything up really nicely. Then we're going to do 2 more layers of spray cork, and then we'll peel off the plastic. It already sounds so different in here. Like there's no echo. It's just all the sound is absorbed. It's really nice. Ah! A little bit of echo, but beautiful.
Feeling.
That's true. So we do have quite a bit of cork left and quite a bit of glue left. So we're considering if we want to, once we spray the ceiling, we're considering if we're gonna add at least 1 layer of that expanded cork to insulate it even more. But we don't really need to, I don't think. But yeah, we'll see when we get to it. But that's it for today.
There's so many hands again.
Today is going to be a really long day. And I don't usually drink coffee except when I really need it, but today would have been one of those days where I would probably just drink at least 2 cups to survive the day. But unfortunately, we don't have that here. So I'm going to stick with my usual morning drink, which is a bottle of water mixed with green vitamin powder. And on top, I'm gonna add some collagen because I am 35. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna add a shot of Magic Mind. And this, guys, this is like my superpower. I love it. Magic Mind is a mental performance shot in addition to your daily routine that helps you stay focused and motivated and productive, and it also helps reducing stress. It's not like coffee where you get super pumped instantly and then you crash hard afterwards. This one is more like a slow burn, and the more you integrate it with your routine, the more effective it becomes. So you really need to take it every day for at least a week to really take in the benefits. And since it's not heavily caffeinated, you can take it in the afternoon without worrying about not being able to fall asleep at night. But apparently, if you do take it with your morning coffee, pair it together, apparently it makes it even more effective for even longer. So I haven't tried this yet, but I feel like next time that I feel I need coffee, I might do that. And to be perfectly honest, it's really hard to explain the benefits of Magic Mind because you don't really notice anything. It's so subtle that it's after you've taken it for some time and you forget to take it for a few days, then you realize that your mind isn't as sharp or you're not as productive as you are when you do take the Magic Mind. And that's what I personally felt that I've noticed. So the last year of adding Magic Mind to my daily routine has been a fascinating experience because I definitely felt more productive and more efficient with my day as I've been in the past years. I just feel like my mind is just sharper. So right now they are running a 7-day challenge. For us, it doesn't really make sense to do it because we already past 365 days challenge. So we already know that it works for us, but would love to hear what you guys think. I'll leave a link in the description below with a special discount for you. And then yeah, try it out. And after 7 days, let me know what you think. All right, I'm gonna finish drinking this and then I'll head over to the boat. Cheers. Well, we spent this morning cleaning up this interior garden that we had after we added the cork. We vacuumed everything we could and now we're ready to add another layer of spray insulation. It's gonna be a pretty quick process, I think, because I think by now we've got it dialed in. All right, we're gonna mask up and get to work.
All right, well, the next coat's done. It's sort of a primer coat. There's still a lot of like holes and gaps and cracks and stuff we need to fill, but it looks good. We'll let it dry for a couple of days and do it again. All right, so a lot of you guys are wondering why we were spraying the cork on and not like troweling it or rolling it or brushing it or some other technique. The product's designed to spray. The gun that we got, the hopper gun that we got, is from the company who sold us the spray cork itself. And the reason for spraying it, I think, is probably twofold. One, to put like a nice thin layer on, because it's a water-based glue, so it dries with air. It's not like a chemical cure. And so it needs to go on in like multiple thin layers to make sure that it actually dries. And also by spraying, you get a much more unified, like uniform, even texture, which is nice and aesthetic to look at. And when it goes on too thick, we were worried that it wouldn't dry, because some of the tests that we did earlier, after 3 or 4 or 5 days, it still wasn't dry when it was like 3 or 4 millimeters thick in one layer. But then now that we've been doing it for so long, because this project is taking forever, we realized that like the big clumps of cork that have like fallen down or like that fell out of the bucket, after 2 weeks were dry. And so it does dry eventually. And so we did our first 2 layers of cork, and then we glued in the panels. And now 2 days ago, we finished spraying sort of a 3rd layer of cork. But there's all these little gaps and cracks and like little holes and stuff that we couldn't fill with the sheets of cork. But they look like they're a little big to try to fill with the spray, because like you're trying to angle a spray nozzle that's blowing out cork this big into like one little corner. So we've come up with hopefully a clever solution to sort of fill in all those little gaps and cracks around and make a really nice tight seal. And that is to take our caulking gun, put a big old fat tip on it, and then pack it full of cork and squeeze that into all the corners and little holes and little bits and places that don't look like they're gonna get filled up. And then let that dry for a day, and then we'll spray over top of that again. And then it probably will take a week or 2 for it to fully cure or dry all the way in the back, but we've got time. We're not gonna be doing anything else with this cork for a very long time. So it will dry eventually. But yeah, that's our idea. We're gonna try it out and see. This is like, don't try this at home, folks, I think. I don't think this is like a manufacturer recommendation. Oh, look at that. And then we'll probably go behind, like this is just to kind of put it in place in like the least messy way. And then we'll probably go behind and kind of like trowel it and smooth it out a little bit, so that when we spray the 4th and final coat over top of it, it should just make it all disappear. That's the plan. I feel like it's kind of squeezing all the glue out, like more than spraying it does. But it is putting the product on there, and the product's wet enough that it won't bond, so. Seems to work okay.
It's also we're not trying to do that on the whole boat.
No, just in these like cracks. Just trying to get some product in there. Stop it.
We started off using a little baby trowel, but we found quickly that just using your finger, so much better, so much faster. Gets the job done. And it blends in. So we decided to not use the caulking gun after all, and instead I'm just using my hands. And I'm basically going around the entire boat and filling in all the gaps in the corners, but I'm also filling in all the big holes that the last layer of spray might not cover. There's no point trying to cover all the holes because I think the spray is going to be able to cover most of them. But just the big ones, I also cover. And then after I do that, I kind of scrub it lightly just to blend everything in to make sure that there's a smooth consistency. I think it's looking good. Next step is going to be to do one last layer of spray to the entire hull. Well guys, it's been about a week since we've sprayed the last layer of cork. We wanted to wait a few days just to make sure that everything was nice and dry, and it looks really, really good in here. But there is one more thing that I want to do before we can truly appreciate the end result, and that is to remove all the plastic and all the tape that we have to protect the rest of this boat. There is a lot of it, and I feel like with the thickness of this insulation, it's probably gonna take all day. So let's get into it. Ooh, I guess let's start with this guy. So good. I'm probably gonna, hopefully you can see me. I'm probably gonna just rip out the plastic first as much as I can without really going too close to the cork, and then I'll come back with like a razor blade or something to make sure that I don't peel off part of the cork that needs to be on the hull. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Start with the plastic. Look how thick this is. So I want to make it flush with this. So I'm going to have to carve it in to make sure I don't peel it off. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ah, this is full of glue. Well, it's starting to look really, really good in here. It's taking a little longer than I anticipated because some areas are just so stubborn with the tape, and I cleaned up as much as I could, but there's areas where the glue got underneath the plastic, and so it's embedded on top of the shelves. And then there's other areas where the glue got underneath the cardboard, so the cardboard, for instance, is glued to the floor, at least parts of it. So I'm gonna go through over the next couple of days, probably over the next couple of weeks, whenever we have extra time, just doing one little section at a time. But I'm pretty happy. It looks really, really nice. We do have plans to put something on top of the insulation, so it's not gonna just be the insulation and then that's it. We're gonna have some type of ventilation, especially inside of the lockers. But we'll get into that when we get to that phase. But until then, I think that is it for this episode, and hope you guys enjoyed, and we finally made it work. And we'll see you guys next time. Cheers!